Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another Mark at the Mike Goes Rogue podcast. I'm Mark Lucchese, also known as Mark at the Mike, and today's episode is not going to be about any Burlingame history, but with Hanukkah and Christmas coming, I thought it would be fun to talk Briskets and Prime Ribs with my guest today, Mike Tomasello, the meat, poultry, and fish buyer for Mollie Stone's Markets, 9 stores serving the greater Bay Area. Mike, come on in, take a seat, grab a mic, and today you can be Mike at the Mike. Michael, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks, Mark. Always a pleasure to see you.
Bet. I got a lot of questions about briskets and prime ribs, but, before we begin this interview, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about your background?
So I started at Tower Market in the meat department when I was 16. My uncle owned Tower Market on the top of the hill on Portola. He owned the meat department called Viglizio's Meats. I started there when I was going to high school. I have my great grandpa. He owned a meat shop on Noriega way back in the 1900s. And then my grandpa, he owned a deli, meat departments, and then all my uncles, they owned delis and meat departments. So Mollie Stone's bought the store in 2005, which my uncle sold to Mollie Stone. So I ran the meat and seafood in that department until I went to about 2000, I think it was 15 or 2014, until I went to their Greenbrae store, which used to be an old Petrini store, and then from there, I became the buyer at Mollie Stone's. I was already buying the seafood in 2007, but I became the meat and seafood buyer in 2018, I believe.
Yeah, and then Paul Colorazzo decided to retire, so you inherited that position, right? You were named the meat buyer, and you were in 4 hats, basically, or 3 or 4 hats anyway.
Meat, our last poultry. Meat buyer, we were real close, me and Paul.
Right, so you picked up a lot from him. And
yeah, he was great to work with, and we used to always purchase together, and it was always together.
Yeah.
He retired, and then I just kind of went into that role. They asked me to take that role on.
So I have a lot of notes in front of me. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about what a meat buyer does or is? Some people probably don't have any idea. So maybe explain a little bit of the responsibilities that you have going on.
So there's a lot of responsibilities as a meat buyer. It's not just buying. That's just a small part of my job. A lot of the job is directing all the stores and making sure the stores are in line with, laws, and making sure the guys are up to par, making sure we have enough help. And then on the buying side, we buy. I send them product, a proven product for our customers.
So do you have any set days that you do your buying? Do you separate days from the meat, fish, and poultry?
No, every day is kind of different. It just depends on the season. So buying's usually seasonal. There is stuff that's approved every day where the stores or managers, they're capable of buying the everyday products. But as as a chain that we try to run everything kind of, we want to be everything standardized. And the same, but every store has different unique opportunities, I would say, but so every day is different. It just depends. So we're now wintertime, we're going into the 4th quarter, and it's the holidays, and it's Hanukkah, it's Christmas, different buying during this time. A lot of people buy a lot of different items during that time. But during Easter, it'd be legs of lamb or different things like that.
Are you taking care of the pricing as well?
Yes, I do all the pricing, and I do all the approving. And then once it's approved, then the stores are authorized to order whatever they need for our customers.
Can you kind of maybe take us through a typical work day, a day in the life of Mike, the meat buyer?
Well, so that's a tough one, because no day is a typical work day. It's not a set schedule. I mean, I'm always available. We never know what problems come up. And, ever since the wildfires hit and COVID hit, there's been a lot of different unique days where it comes to either supply chain issues or, just receiving products on time, but you never know what's going to happen every day. So I usually start around 2, 3 in the morning. I prepare myself. I'll do some paperwork or something ready because all the fish markets open around 4 a.m., 3 a.m. So if there's a problem, even to start the fish markets, we buy a lot of our fish off the pier, and then we buy a lot from family-owned companies locally.
Is a lot of this work done over the phone? Are you visiting at all to the docks or suppliers?
So,
most of this is over the phone?
So I do visit when I have to see items. Really, I don't visit as much. Most of it's over the phone. When crab season hits, it's a whole different story. We do kind of go out. I have a truck. We might get totes of crabs or something, but usually it's all delivered. And we have such great relationships with our suppliers that, they supply whatever we need, and they know our standards and what we expect to go into the stores. So,
what part of your job is the most challenging each day?
So I think time is always a challenge, to have enough time to do what we need to do. We have 9 stores, and it's hard to maintain 9 stores in the time frame that we have it every day, because you never know, what the issue is or who's going to be calling you that morning.
Yeah,
so.
and you're already getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you get used to it.
Yeah, I bet you do.
You get used to it.
So how is the help situation going for the meat departments or the meat industry in general? Are the stores fully staffed with meat cutters and clerks? Has the problem cooled off?
So the stores are staffed. We have a great staff. I love our managers. They're all great managers. They always have a heart for the people, making sure they have quality, making sure they have the products. And then, but there is a decline in help. We could always use more help. We're always looking for, passionate people in this field, which, you see it might be on a downward trend where they're really passionate. Usually you get chefs or something that are really passionate about cutting meat or something. They're usually always passionate. But, when I was growing up, all the butchers, they were really passionate. But, I think the times have changed.
You've seen a decline.
Where they more a little decline on the passion part.
Yeah. How many, you don't have to give me an exact number, but how many more or less meat cutters and clerks are employed at our 9 stores?
So we have about 60 to 65 people that help us in our stores. We have probably about 35 butchers. Some of them are apprentices. We love to make apprentices. We love to make people grow. It's just like a family here. We want to see them succeed as we succeed. And then we have about 25 clerks.
Yeah. Boy, it must get tough, I would say, probably during summertime or vacation time when maybe 1 or 2 guys leave the store and you have to kind of replace them, or sometimes they don't get replaced, and then it becomes an overtime issue, I bet. And
it's tough every time.
Yeah.
It's always tough. It's just tough.
How often do you get down to the stores?
So I go out probably about 2-3 times a week. I try to get out 3 times a week. It just depends on my workload on the back end of it. But usually I try to get out 3 times to visit the stores. I do have someone that helps me. His name's Dan. He's a great. We kind of about the same age, and we kind of grew up in the same era. And so he runs around to our San Francisco stores.
Yeah.
And we kind of separate the stores and we kind of attack them together. He's wonderful to work with.
So when you get to a store, how often do you find yourself kind of in a position where you have to put on a gown and help out?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 times a week. Most of the time I do help out. I mean, when you grow up in it, you love to do it. And when I go to the store and you see something that needs to be done, we just do it. It's just part of our job. That's what we grew up doing.
How often do you get out to see competition?
Not too much. I go around to see what they're doing. My main goal is to kind of focus on, what we're doing. And then, we do go out and we see, we love innovation. We like to see what's new. We like to see, but there's not like no new fish out there or no new beef cut. They just might rename it, but you ain't got something new out there that we don't probably know about.
Yeah.
But there might be new trends that might happen that we want to see, and we want to be up to date.
Sure. So you have 9 stores. You have 9 managers under you. probably 9 assistants, give or take. How do you work out your communication with them? Are you communicating with these guys every day, or phone calls, or what?
Yeah, every day. Some managers more than others. Our bigger stores, sure, they might run into more problems or communicate. But technology is a great asset for us. I've learned how to use technology where it helps to support our needs and even to build teamwork. We do Zoom calls, we group text, we email, and then when we go around to the stores, then you see them, and then you could communicate if there's any questions. But usually it's all through technology nowadays.
Do you ever find a need to visit ranches? Are you ever invited to go out and visit a ranch and see the cattle or anything go on like that?
Not really. I mean, you see one or two. I mean, we've been to a ranch. I've been to Superior, the lamb slaughter. I mean, you see one or two, pretty much all the same. But it's when there's a need to do it, yes, then we do it.
Yeah.
But if there's not a need, then we just don't go visit ranches.
What's the difference between a choice piece of meat and a prime grade piece of meat?
So there is levels of grades of beef, and it's usually the difference is mainly the higher fat content that's distributed, the more intramuscular marbling that the choice to prime. Now choice has the highest grade is of course prime. That's the highest you could get out there, and that's why. And it's really scarce right now. Where choice, there's levels of choice now. It's kind of got a little diluted. There'll be like, here's your 10% choice, here's your 15% choice. So they're even starting to grade deeper into choice. But, that's probably on our back end where, you could get a choice that's closer to a select. But we always make sure that we get the highest possible that's out there.
All right, so with the upcoming holidays, Hanukkah starting, in just a couple of days, December 18th, and it runs for 7 days, and it'll butt right into, I think, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the 24th and 25th. We're just going to talk about Hanukkah for a couple of minutes, if you don't mind. As I recall, my many years in the business, brisket was a favorite meal for Hanukkah. Can you tell us what a cut of brisket is?
Sure. So a brisket comes off the breast or lower chest part of the animal. There's not like different kinds of briskets. There's just components of briskets. So we will order it as a whole brisket, which comes with the point, which is attached to the rib cage, or you could get the flat, which is, it has less fat and mostly meat. So the point is what, they use for burn ends or different things. But you could buy the whole brisket, but usually we get the flat. We have to special order the whole briskets.
How are the brisket orders going so far?
They're going good. We sell a lot of briskets during this time. Even during Christmas, we sell a lot of briskets, but they're going well.
Good. Hanukkah being 7 days, you're not going to have brisket every night. Are there some other choices out there?
Yeah. I mean, you could use chuck roast, but if you're saying like different on beef, there's prime rib. Stew, they would buy, or London broils. But then you could get a turkey, you could get chicken, there's different things you could substitute if you don't want to just do all beef.
Because I'm thinking brisket's probably good for 1 or 2 nights, and then you got to go into something else. And turkey is a great option, and some of the other poultry items as well.
Yeah.
What sizes of turkeys do you have right now?
So we have all different sizes.
And what brands as well?
So we have the Mollie Stone brands. That's our Mollie Stone brand, our natural bird. And then we have Mary's organic turkey. And then we have the Empire Kosher turkey. And then we have the Willie Bird turkey. They're all great turkeys. It's just on your preference. And the sizes range from 8 pounds all the way up to I seen one this year for like 33 pounds.
Boy, that's a big bird.
Yeah, big bird. Yeah, I've seen a 36 before. It was pretty big.
Yeah. Do you have a cutoff time for ordering?
No, we take orders all the way up to whenever you need it, or you could just come into the stores.
Yeah. And if somebody's going to order, I know you can go to the stores because I see the table always set up, but if you're going to order online, where does somebody do that?
So you go to molliestones.com, and it's under, I think it's holiday reservations. There's a meat and seafood page. So we do the meat side. There'll be prime ribs, filet roast, different items. We have geese on there. We have ducks on there. And then on the seafood side, there's mussels, clams, crabs. We have all that on there.
Great, Michael. That's awesome. So why don't we talk Christmas dinners, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I often hear somebody saying, hey, get me a standing rib roast or get me a prime rib roast. What's the difference?
Yeah, they're the same. They're the same.
They're the same.
Prime rib roast comes from the meat comes from the primal off the rib, so they call it prime rib roast. I think that's more standard at restaurants. Like that's what people are more adapted to.
Yeah.
But truthfully, we do call it standing rib roast.
So Mollie Stone sells prime rib. Am I saying that correctly? Prime rib?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
So, or prime standing rib roast, or we have a prime rib. So you don't want to get confused, like because they're calling it prime rib roast, that it's prime. It could be choice or select. Usually that's the industrial standard is usually you always see select, choice, or prime. But you want to make sure it says prime rib if you get. So we say prime rib on our website.
Yeah.
And we have dry age and we have choice.
And the dry age, how long is that aged for?
So we age it for about 25 to 30 days. It just depends. I think we put them up on right after Thanksgiving. We loaded all our dry agers. And so they'll be ready for that week of Christmas.
Yeah. The one question I always got at Mollie's was, can you recommend a great horseradish? Can you recommend one for us, Mike, or one or two horseradishes that would go well with prime rib and or brisket?
Yeah, we have a few horseradishes. We have it's called Fred's Horseradish. It's a great company. He's kind of more specialty, and it's a fresh horseradish. All the stores will have that. And then our deli sell an atomic horseradish, and that's real good. And we sell that in the meat department. We have some in the meat cases, and then we have the deli sells it on their side.
Yeah. So besides prime rib, and I know you mentioned a few things a few moments ago. What are some more things that are going to be found in that meat department the next few weeks?
There's, you can, whatever the customer needs. I mean, we carry usually all the cuts, from lamb, your racks of lamb, your legs of lamb. We have porchettas this year. They're beautiful. They're really good. Filet mignon roast, New York roast. You can get your Diamond Jim roast, or it's called cross rib roast. But turkeys, I mean, whatever you need.
Did you mention the crown rib? The crown pork?
Crown pork roast we have.
Yeah.
And those have to be special ordered, but crown pork roast, because it takes time to do it, we do them all by hand. So the crown pork roast or the lamb crown pork roast you could do. And
there's still plenty of time to order all of that, all of those goodies?
Yes.
Great. So talk to me a little bit about crab season. I think it was supposed to have opened, we're in December, last month, around November 15th, 16th, and it didn't happen. And from what I'm hearing now is it may not open till the end of the year. Is that correct?
There's 3 areas that open up on crab season, and we try to get them out of these areas if one areas don't open, because usually in the wintertime there's storms that hit. It's always an issue to get crabs, but we're waiting for the fishing games to release. So in our area, it was supposed to be open on November 15th. They do a test on the the meat, how much meat's in the crab. If they don't get up to 25%, they'll close the season. They would like it to be around 24 to 25%. But the last 3 years it was because of the whales in our area. So that closed us down here till the next opening. They closed it like twice, but it never opened, but they just kind of delayed it till now. It's December 30th in our area, which probably no boats will go out during that time till after New Year's. So you probably won't see crabs if they open till after New Year's on our area. Now Oregon did a test and they came back at like 21%, which they won't open at 21%. So they were delayed. So they got delayed, pushed back till January too.
What's the percentage that you're looking for?
Around 25%.
Yeah.
So the meat ratio in there. So they do, and you can see it on the Fish and Game website. You go on there, and they'll have the whole report on there.
So this is going to shorten the crab season down then, correct?
Yeah. Well, our season really. So in November, our season's usually the first pool. It'll be November 15th. We'll have a great pool. It goes 2 weeks. It goes real strong. Then Eureka and up north will open. They'll open around December 1st. the boats will start leaving our area, going up north to get the crabs. And then Oregon opens, and a lot of our stuff, it does come out of Oregon during the winter time because all the boats are up there and they're having great catches.
Yeah.
And then we have local guys out here that we do cook live in some of the stores, and we do buy the local as much as possible. But a lot of times you just can't get, because we do grading, and our sizes we expect to get is 1.75 up. We try to get to two ups, but it just depends on the pool.
What does that mean? Pounds? Are you talking
Yeah,
pounds?
pounds.
Uh-huh.
So we don't try and get like 1 1/4 pound crabs or 1 1/3. There's nothing to it. I mean, you bring it home and there's no meat in it. So we try to get selects or 2 ups, and we pay a lot more for it, and we have, our vendors that help us select them all. So they'll go through all the crabs. They'll select all the bigger sizes for us, so we can have them in our stores for our customers.
So if there's nothing fresh, will you have some frozen coming in from somewhere?
Yeah, so we did get a supply. It's limited, but we do have frozen this year, and I don't know if we'll make it to New Year's, but we have enough for at least Christmas.
Yeah,
to
great.
get through Christmas.
Great.
So you gotta order early.
Are you going to be camped out at the Green Bray store Christmas Eve?
That's always a mystery. Usually I am in Green Bray. It kind of rocks in Green Bray, but
Tower as well, right?
Yeah, Tower, but it just depends on where the need's at.
Sure.
I just go where the need's at.
And let's tell our listeners here, I know all the stores are open on Christmas Eve, right? Till Christmas Eve, you close a little earlier, 7 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yeah, all stores close at 7 on Christmas Eve.
And then Christmas Day, 7 out of the 9 stores are going to be open. San Mateo and Palo Alto are closed.
Yeah, and the stores open. Some stores open till 4, and then I think 3 of the stores open till 5.
Yeah, so folks should probably check their local listings or give the store a call and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, our website's great. You can go to our website, order what you need, and we'll have it ready for you when you come into the stores.
Well, I hope it's a busy holiday.
Thank you.
Michael,
too, yeah.
Let's see. Michael, Mike at the mic. You have met Mark at the mic today, and thank you. We just did a podcast together. I'd like to thank Mike Tomasello, meat, fish, and poultry buyer for Mollie Stone's Markets, 9 stores serving the Greater Bay Area, for being a guest today on the Mark at the Mic Goes Rogue podcast. Thanks to Shelby for producing and consulting, and happy holidays to all.